everybody. Welcome to the LFC Day Trippers. It's today at the World Cup. I'm your host, Matt, and joining me tonight is Chris. Chris, long day of podcasting for you today.
I feel like I've not been on for an hour.
Getting to be a pretty old hat at this stuff.
I know. It was that much fun. I thought I'd come back and do some more. But I'll let you do the hosting duty so I can just sit back and relax and wind the chat up.
Well, I thought the show was called Today at the World Cup with a question mark because I don't get to see a lot of it because I have to work during the day. So, but thankfully today was a good day to miss the middle two games because a couple of 0-0 draws in there. But I mean,
think literally one thing happened in the two games combined. I saw bits of them. The two bookends were the best parts of the day today. The middle two were a bit.
Yeah, well, I couldn't get myself to get up at 5 a.m. for what seemed like it was going to be a procession of Argentina against Saudi Arabia. You know, everybody's kind of chosen whipping boys for the tournament. But I was up for the second half, and by the time I got the TV turned on, all of a sudden it was 2-1. And I mean,
I saw
what a result.
Yeah, I saw half the first half. So I saw a replay of the penalty, which will come to Roy Keane and Francis having a Barney over it, which was fabulous to watch. I think they had 3 or 4 goals disallowed for offsides, and most of them looked offside. I think a few in the chat saying one of them might have been dubiously disallowed, but he was kind of going like, it felt like one of those games you're going, look, Argentina 1-0 up, they're playing okay, they'll pick them off and it'll probably finish like 2-3-0, nothing to worry about. And to be fair to him, when they made it 1-1, you were like, you felt the mood change of this feels like game on. And I'll be honest, Tottenham's defender Romero, he's just not tight to him. I don't know if that's because he's not fit. I don't think he's fit, and it showed because that turn and he was done. Nice finish, but very I think Suna scored right. Very un-Argentinian. You know, they were quite passive and easy. And this is an Argentina side that's won the last 35, 36 games and barely conceded a goal. But I must admit though, the winner, it's an absolute joy of a goal. I mean, you know, forget it's a brilliant finish. You know, Martinez got no chance, no keeper saving that. So what the goal to put them in front was great. My only worry when I saw it was thinking, feels like you've scored that too early.
Bit early, yeah. If you want to score that one with the last kick of the game, you'd think.
Yeah, Argentina are going to come back into this. They're going to really go for it. But listen, the keeper was inspired. I mean, I think I'd look at the XG. I think their XG was something like Argentina was 3, you know, and Saudi Arabia literally had 3 shots on goal and scored 2. The scariest moment of the whole game was the Saudi Arabia comes out for a cross, punches it, and he knees his mate in the face, like, and he's down for ages.
That was brutal. That was really, really, but that was a scary collision.
Well, Ben Dinnery's come out, he does like a lot of sports injuries, says Saudi Arabia defender was knocked unconscious after being kneed in the head by his own goalkeeper, has reportedly suffered fractured jaw, broken facial bones, and internal bleeding in the game. I mean, listen, I was amazed he stood up. I couldn't believe he stood up because it was only thinking, at first you thought, it's a time wasting thing, you know, because they all, you know, and I'm like, don't blame him because you got to do it. As soon as you saw the first replay, you're like, and they kept showing it. Like, don't keep showing it. Yeah. Just sort of because it was as soon as it connects with him, the poor lad's out, and it was a really horrible. Like, I think that probably killed Argentina's momentum as well. Listen, they weren't playing for that, but they just never really looked like proper carving them open. I didn't think there were some good saves of the keeper. There were saves I was expecting him to make though.
Well, the keeper made a great save off Messi about 90 seconds in, where the ball breaks to Messi, about 12 yards out, and the keeper does a great job of getting low down with his right hand and keeping the ball out. I watched that replay. I don't know how that wasn't a penalty on Maguire. I mean, that's just a proper rugby tackle.
That's what I mean. I think this is so. Roy Keane and Greg Smith got into a big barney. Roy Keane said it's never the Argentina player is never a pen in a million years. It's ridiculous. And he makes the right point, which is the new directive is if you're holding a player and not looking at the ball, you're actually looking at the player. The old Italian way of defending, which they became famous for, is we have to give a penalty. So by the way that they interpret it, that's right. The frustration is we've seen the same thing happen in another game and they haven't done it. But they'll say it's soft and they'll say, look, you know, this is not great. we're going to give away loads of penalties. But you know what? Defenders get wiser. Once you know a referee's wise to doing it, you just find a new way of doing it. Either defend properly, or if you're going to hold him, make it look like you're looking at the ball, even though you've got your eye on him, and then they can't do anything then. So
it's a rule that would have done Martin Skirtle in for about 15 or 20 penalties a game, if it was actually properly enforced 15 years ago.
Yeah. but it's like anything. It's one of those things, you'll get 3 or 4 penalties for it, and a defender's, like any sport, will adapt to find a different way of stopping you. That's what you have to do. It's like anything. So I was like, look, a bit of you do wonder if it was the other way around, if that was an Argentinian player doing that to a Saudi player, would he have got it? I don't know. There probably is a little bit of big team bias, but do you know what? I thought it was a really entertaining game, and I thought, it's a nice surprise. A couple of nice surprises. Now, I would say that's the biggest surprise win since probably Argentina lost to Cameroon in 1990. I mean, in fairness, Argentina went to the final that year, despite losing to Cameroon. But I would say that's probably one of the big ones, especially when Argentina are in great form. It's not like they've been like shaky and I'm not really sure what Argentina are going to do. They're one of the favourites to win this. So it's a big win. The good thing is it makes the rest of the group really exciting next. Then you're now going, Argentina are lucky that Denmark and Tunisia drew, but now Argentina and Denmark, now it's kind of like winner stays in, which is really exciting. Yeah. Which is going to make it makes that group exciting because we all thought, foregone conclusion, Argentina win 3-4-0, game's over, we'll go on to the next bit. So I quite like the fact that you get some of these upsets, because then at least you're going, well, this now makes the middle game really intriguing.
Yeah, and hopefully eliminates that issue you have where you get to that third group game and you get one team that's willing to just settle for the draw, and you end up with what was that, Spain 82, where the teams just pass the ball around. And
yeah, I think that wasn't that one where there was also one where this is why the final games always played at the same time as well, because there was another game where literally two sides they knew the results of the previous game, and they just went, literally didn't leave the half. And went,
sat in the center circle and played poker for 90 minutes, just about. But I gotta say, I was impressed with Saudi Arabia's defending. Not knowing anything about the Saudi Arabia national team, you just kind of expected them to play Deitch ball, to put 2 banks of 5 or 6 and 4 behind the ball and to sit back and just try to, not leave any shooting lanes open, not leave anything. But they were quick in the tackle. Like, they really seemed to have a game plan.
It's Mexico and Poland in their group. I got the 2 groups mixed up.
It's the 0-0s. We'll get to those in due time. Somebody earlier mentioned that they played a really good high line, and the whole game, they weren't just sitting back on their heels, and I think that's what ended up saving them and keeping them with the 3 points in the group, was that they weren't just passive and sitting back in the box and just letting Argentina come again and again and again. The number of passes that they cut out, that was the pass before the ball got into the box, where they were just snapping into it. It was really an impressive performance from them. And as a result, tomorrow has been declared a national holiday in Saudi Arabia. So, everybody gets to take the day off.
Which is always good. It's what everyone wants, really. But you wouldn't have said, though, after game 1 of Group C, Saudi Arabia will be top of the group.
No. I would imagine that a few people's accumulator bets for the day got ruined in the very first game.
Yeah, I think so. But look, that's what you want. We're seeing a few, not surprises, but I would say you are seeing a few more of these where you see an established one of the favourites for the tournament against, a small nation. But they've stopped doing this. Oh shit, we'll just do 10 men behind the ball and, hopefully, we only get a 2 or 3-0. They're going for it. I think it's actually giving a lot of these teams a surprise. And we'll come on to the France Australia game, which ended up finishing a comfortable win for France. But for an hour, Australia made that very interesting and very, very difficult. And that's kind of what you want them to do. If you're going to lose, don't go out of a whimper. At least make it interesting. But speaking of whimpers.
Yes, no kidding. It's thankfully I had to go to work for the second game of the day, and I did try. I like to listen to the games on radio when I'm at work, but I found the BBC feed that we're getting here in Canada, it was just the crowd noise was way too loud. So I didn't pay any attention to the Denmark-Tunisia game. So I'm going to give my opinion on it, which I got from Dennis Kelly in our Telegram group. Decent for a 0-0. Tunisia is a big and physical side. Denied Denmark a lot of the ball in the first half. A draw was a fair result. And having watched the extended highlights on our broadcaster that's carrying it, the extended highlights were 5 minutes long. And that's not good when the extended highlights are 5 minutes. And a minute of that was the teams coming out of the tunnel and a few seconds of the national anthem. So didn't miss a lot on that one.
No, I think the only talking point or surprise of the game was the referee was sent to the monitor to look at a penalty. When you see the replay against the Chisney player, ball comes in, flicks up, hits his leg, bounces up, hits his chest, and hits his arm. So it's about 3 deflections onto it. And obviously, he's been told to go look at that. And we all know, go look at the monitor. He's going to give a penalty. And he comes back around, and he turns out, and the referee just goes, not for me. Not having that. Corner. And you can even see the Danish players who probably don't think it's a penalty all going, fucking hell, no, when you go to the monitor, it's like, quit him. Because everyone does that. Everyone goes, that's why I don't like the monitor. Because I'm like, the referee makes a decision. Yeah, but they never normally change their mind, it was quite a pleasant surprise. And in fairness to him, you all look at the replay going, don't think that's a penalty anyway, because it's deflected 3 times. And it's not really a penalty anyway. But it was like a nice highlight, a nice novelty of, I mean, I don't know why you were sent to the monitor in the first place. At least then you're going, fair play. But that's literally the only thing I could talk about. Look at the two sides.
Each keeper, I think, made one good save. Getting wide. Kasper Schmeichel did his best, his dad impression on one. And there's a guy for Denmark. I'm going to call him Yukon Cornelius. I think his name is Cornelius something or other. He got on the end of a flicked header, and he was about 6 inches out, and he managed to hit the post. Like it was. Yeah. It seemed like it was just one of those games.
The concern for Denmark, I would say, is I don't know where to get the goals from. Because backline is Joachim Andersen, Sam Kjær, and Andreas Christensen. Decent back three. Very experienced, what you need. They've got Fleck, they've got, Christian Eriksen, Thomas Delaney's a good player, Højbjerg's good for Spurs. They brought on Damsgaard, so they brought on talent. But the front three were Dolberg, he's not convincing as an out-and-out striker. And then looking at who they had on the bench, Yusuf Poulsen, who can play up front for Leipzig, didn't even get on, so I'm assuming he's injured. Martin Braithwaite, who's had an amazing career at Barcelona and all sorts, he's got a great agent. But again, he didn't feature either. So that's the concern with Denmark is, I just don't see where the goals are going to come from, which is why you're sort of thinking like, they could be in a bit of trouble, really, Denmark. Because I'm a bit like, if France have got them next, I can't see them troubling France like Australia did. So I do think it feels like maybe Denmark, it's like a tournament too fast. That they feel like that squad's sort of in a bit of a transition of getting ready for the next level. So that was a bit of a damn squid, really. It wasn't really much of a game.
Yeah.
So then we went to the next game, Poland, Mexico. To be honest, wasn't much better.
No.
Mexico, normally on these sides, and most World Cups I see, they always everyone's underdog, dark horse for the World Cup. They look really good in the group stage, and they get knocked out in the last 16. It's kind of like rinse and repeat. They're like the old Arsenal of international football. But the big thing was Lewandowski missing a pen. To be fair, I thought it was not a bad penalty. I thought it was a decent save by the keeper, but it's one of those ones. I'll put my house on it. Lewandowski penalty, 1-0 Poland, dead easy. And you're just like, Kev saying Mexico better than I thought, but Poland were poor. Yeah, Poland haven't done much in the last couple of tournaments. They've always they always like appear, do the 3 games, and that's then done. But it wasn't. It wasn't a bit of a great game. They're thinking, God.
I mean, it's an improvement for Poland who normally lose their first group game at the World Cup. So they didn't lose, so that's good. But yeah, like there was, I listened to this entire game on the radio, and the one player that seemed to stand out was Gallardo, the left back from Mexico. He seemed like he was causing a little bit of trouble going at Matty Cash for Poland. But other than that, I mean, both of these teams seemed like they were really having trouble creating anything offensively. I think at halftime, the BBC radio guys were saying that Lewandowski didn't have a touch in the Mexico box. Like, that's not a great sign when your whole team is built around get the ball to Robert Lewandowski, and he doesn't have a touch in the 18-yard area. And it's not a great sign. And that, it really makes things tasty given the fact that Saudi Arabia now has the 3 points in that group.
It does.
You know, like these two teams would have been banking on Argentina taking 9 points. You know, we're going to lose to Argentina, that's fine, and we're going to beat Saudi Arabia. And if we draw each other, it'll come down to how badly you lose to Argentina and how well you can defeat Saudi Arabia. And now, cats amongst the pigeons. Like, these teams are going to have to go for broke in their last 2 games.
I agree. I mean, if I'm Saudi Arabia, I fancy a chance against Poland. I generally would. You know, so we'll have to sort of see how that goes. But then we went to best game of the day. One of the best games of the day, really. France against Australia. Again, another game that was probably seen as it's a bit of a processionist, foregone conclusion. From a Liverpool perspective, Konate starts, which is always
huge.
Good. You know, re-link of the old Leipzig centre-back partnership of Upamecano and Konate. I mean, obviously, I've not always been the most nice about Upamecano because I think he's vast. I think he's a good defender, but I think he's vastly overrated, especially with the ball at his feet. But to be fair to him, ball at his feet, he was really, really good actually. So I can't really say anything.
Yeah, he had one where he dribbled out that it was really impressive, and I thought it was Konate, and got excited about it. And I saw it was Upamecano. I was like, shit.
Yeah, but the start of the game, you thought, right, okay, France, you know, despite the injuries they got, some hell of a side. But Australia take a surprise lead. You know, they drove past Hernandez, and it's a great ball because the bend on it, the 2 centre backs can't touch it or get near it, and it's in that corridor of uncertainty where Lloris can't come out for it. And it's a nice finish by the winger because the easiest thing to do is to slam it low, which is what Lope did, and it gives Lloris a chance. The fact as it bounces up, he manages to lift it. Lloris got no chance. It's shite defended by Pavard, though. He literally can see him, and he just watches him, and he's like waves at him. And even when he scores, I don't think Pavard even knows he's there when he scores because he seemed looking around then going, "Who scores that?" It's like the fella's next to you the whole game.
Yeah, it's apparently Pavard might be the French word for Trent because, like, the Canadian halftime show, they absolutely slaughtered him. Like, they had a couple of women on from the Women's World Cup team, and they just talking like that is schoolboy defending. I mean, they don't use that term over here. And you're just watching it like, yep. Yeah, as it turns out, there are other fullbacks that get caught out at the back stick ball watching and having a player drifting in behind him.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's just really poor defending. But I felt sorry for Hernandez because at first thinking, oh, is he slipped? You know, or has he twisted? But you see it, the knee he grabs is the one that's off the ground. It's just down his knee, so something's gone there, and gone quite badly because he was down for ages, and then the other Hernandez. I mean, you don't wish the injury on a player, but the best thing that happened to France was the other Hernandez came on because he was their main outlet all the time. He's really good, clever positions, and he gave a nice mix of deep crosses, or he got to the byline and pulled him in. So, you know, I thought, you know, that inadvertently became the great thing. And then our friend, Mr. Kev, said this Rabiot shite. I can't stand Rabiot. He's absolutely overhyped. He's rubbish and scores a great head. which, to be honest, me and Kev do this all the time. It seems to be whoever we slag off scores. Unfortunately, when we do it to Liverpool players, they just get worse. So we haven't developed that skill yet where you can say, Salah's been crap today and he scores out trick, and we go, brilliant, look really stupid. I love looking stupid when you say Liverpool players rubbish and they score. But it was probably the first time somebody in the game got some free space in that Australian team, because I thought for the first 20 minutes or so, 20, 15 minutes, Moy was really good in that number 6 role. He kept he was every cutback, he was there for the interception. I thought he did that number 6 job really, really well. Kept saying he's still shit, but he's going to die on that hill, isn't he? So, and then the second goal, nice cutback for Giroud. So then go one
terrible playing out from the back by Australia. I mean, they may as well have just kicked it into their own goal.
Yeah, it's a combination of terrible. Also, to be fair to France, good high press. You know, and it's that man again, Kev's mate, Rabiot, gets the ball, squares in. It's an easy finish for Giroud. I mean, it's what Giroud does at international, that scores goals, 50th international goal for France.
Yeah. It's unbelievable how underrated Olivier Giroud is. when you think back of, the best strikers of the last 20 years, you'd probably get 15, 20 names down the list before Giroud pops up. And
As
he's going
as a
to end up
pure
as France's all-time top goal scorer
Yeah,
internationally.
as a pure old school target number 9, he's brilliant because he never had
Mhm.
pace. So, but his control and his technique is fantastic, and that's what gives him the link play. And listen, he's played for some really good, exciting passing sides. So it's not like he's just a lump up front. He's got
Mhm.
so much about his game. And then we saw possibly miss the tournament from Mr. Mbappe, who we'll come back to because me and Kev said he was having a crap game as well, and he also put us on our legs. But it's a great ball into him, and for a man of his ability, that's a tap in. It was harder for him to put it over the bar. For a man of for the ability and the goal scoring ability he's got, he should be better. Should be better than that, really.
Yeah, but I think there was a pretty clear sign there today. Like I thought both Mbappe and Ousmane Dembele looked electrifying every time they got on the ball. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a
Dembele was
pretty
great.
big gap. Yeah, a pretty big gap, I think, in the quality between the sides. I mean, Australia was last team qualified for the tournament, if I'm not mistaken. They really had to take a long road to even qualify to play in this.
They did,
And
yeah. I mean, a lot of that side plays in the Scottish Premier League as well. So that's another side. But that's Dembele when he's fit. When he's fit, we all know he's a electrically quick player. He's really talented. He just can't get him on the. He's just getting him on the pitch. But the mad thing is, Australia probably should have gone in at 2-2. Our mate with a tash, who me and Kev fell in love with. I can't find his name now. He had the world's greatest mustache. It was almost Alonso, not Alonso, Allison-esque tash.
ooh,
Proper Aussie style, big dirty tash. It was great. But he headed, unfortunately for him, the bounce does him actually when he heads it down the buzz and it clears off because Lloris is nowhere near it.
no,
Which me and Kev are hoping for the 2-2 because I'm thinking we still think France will go on and win this because I think they've got too much quality. But it would have been nice to go, let's see how they react again to a 2-2. I think for France, for the tournament, that this game will do in the world of good because they had to work for it and they had to go up a gear. They couldn't just cruise control, easy 3-0 win, barely get out first gear. Both times they played Australia in the World Cup, they've had to work for it. The last time they played Australia was a 2-1. And it was a very impressive Pompa goal to win it for them. A bit of magic, really, because otherwise they had no chance. I did think in the game, Griezmann was quite impressive, actually, in that deeper role. It actually seemed to suit him, just to spray it out to the pace out wide and, getting in behind Giroud. I actually think that sorts out really well. I mean, when you have Tchouaméni behind you, it does make it easier for you because he could do a lot of your running and the dirty work. And I thought he did all the dirty work really well. So,
yeah, it was a surprising position to see him in. I don't know whether France will take this same formation going forward into the tournament or whether that was just looking at what Australia was going to bring, knowing that you could play those 4 attacking players. You can
yeah,
have Griezmann in as a 10 and not really worry about it because Dembele, Mbappe, and Giroud, I don't know if they came back into their own half in the entire game.
Mbappe never does. Mbappe
No.
never does, but I think that's how he's told to play, though. I mean, if you go back to what's it, because of the Liverpool podcast, it's what we tell Salah to do.
Yeah.
He can get back, but he is told of all the strikers, you get forward and cheat and be the outlet. And with Mbappe's pace, why wouldn't you? And Giroud just isn't going to do it because, he hasn't got the pace, he isn't getting quick. But Kev, the one thing is France can line up like that with a proper 3-man field. Yeah, because I mean, they could bring on Camavinga, they could put in there. Yusuf Fofana can also do centre mid. I mean, even ex-Arsenal players there,
Guendouzi.
Yeah, so they've got proper centre midfield options for you. I mean, so against the better side, you probably will do that, and then maybe it's Griezmann off the bench, or you only put one pace lad up front. If it was me, you'd probably stick with the 2 pace lads and just tell Griezmann to go off the bench, which is not,
Is Benzema missing the whole tournament, or is it just the first few games? The whole tournament?
Apparently, so I was there for the whole tournament, and France didn't call up a replacement, so they've gone into the tournament with 25 players, which is a bit mad. And you think about it, I think Hernandez's tournament's done, so they're down to 24. Varane's in the squad, talk is Varane might not play until the knockout stages to get to it, which you think they would do. So you're already going, well, you're down to 23. They've already left themselves down to 23. I find it a bit odd. Now, unless they think he's got an outside chance of the final. So technically he's registered, but he wasn't registered on the bench as being in the squad. So me and Kev were saying, why would you not do one or two things? Either take a Ben Yedder. He's a decent, really good centre forward. Just have him on the bench as an option. If you don't use it, you don't use it. You've got it there. Or if you really don't think you need him, call whoever your next, and there'll be loads in France, next exciting prospect is. Stick him on your number 26, and you basically tell the player, you're not going to play, but what you are going to do is you're going to train with us, you're going to get used to the match days and get used to being in a tournament. Like Brazil in 94 did with Ronaldo. Ronaldo never got a kick in 94, won a World Cup, but he understood the whole process of tournament football, what it's like, the bubble you're in and all that sort of stuff. So when you're ready, do it that way. I do find it a bit weird. You've got the option of bringing another player. Just bring one in, either youngster for experience or a wild card just in case. Yeah,
Laszlo, I think, might have the answer to that there. Deschamps is weird. That's why.
He is weird, but listen, as Kev said, he's probably the most successful French manager they've ever produced. He's won everything. Yeah. And what more can you ask for him? So, but I did think that was a bit odd.
Yeah, it's but I agree. I think this is a really good game for France's chances. Yeah, it's a nice rhyme to it in the World Cup, because they showed some character, they battled back, and their good players look like they're up for it. Like Mbappe looked on, and Olivier Giroud, he knows where the back of the net is. He gets his second goal. He equals Thierry Henry as the top all-time French goal scorer. So odds are pretty good he's going to end up as the all-time top French goal scorer by the time the tournament's over. Hugo Lloris, I don't think he's great, but he's a solid keeper. I mean, he's won a World Cup, so he knows what he's doing. And if France get through...
Bernard Diamond won a World Cup. Doesn't make him a great player.
No.
I think he's a good keeper. He's a top 6 goalkeeper in terms of the Premier League, but I think he has too many ricks in him personally. But I think that also says maybe that's the state of French goalkeeper football is who's pushing him, because the lad from Leeds, he's probably not ready yet for that step up.
No, like Maignan might have been in with a shout, but he's injured, so really left only Lloris to play in this tournament. So
I think this will be his last tournament anyway. I just think it.
Well, he probably will. I think he's 2 or 3 games off becoming France's all-time most capped player. Lilian Thuram is the current holder, and I think if they get out of the group stage, he'll be their most capped player ever. And if they get out of the group stage, he'll have their most French appearances in a World Cup ever. So I mean,
fair play to him.
They've been there before. They know what they're doing, and I thought they looked good. And I think, as much as you might not rate Upamecano, and I don't think he's as good as Konate.
He was really good in this game. I can't deny it.
Like they have a history together, and that could be that could be their partnership going forward. And it would be unfortunate and I think unfair probably for Saliba to not get a game. But if these two can form a partnership and they're on the same level with each other,
well, they played together since the 20s. Upamecano was always the man in. I think everyone thought before it'd be Upamecano and Varane. That was going to be the two. I think Konate, we thought would probably miss out on the World Cup because of his injury. But I think we've seen for Liverpool, this season, our season's been pretty erratic. As soon as he's come back in the side, we just naturally look more solid. He just gives us a lot of positives, with his pace, his power, his directness. I still think there are areas that he'll improve on, but, he's only a young man, but he's just an absolute beast. I mean, as for the Giroud goal, it's a great ball by Mbappe. After me saying he hadn't done much, he didn't get a goal and assist. So, shows I know nothing about football, really. It won't be the first time that got it wrong.
None of us do.
Yeah, Red Steve saying Walcott, Chris. And remember that, England took Walcott to a World Cup. Now, I mean, it was a bit of a mad one, that, because that's of the days when we had only 23-man squad, so you probably actually could have done with him, especially with injuries. But that sort of thing, I mean, Walcott one didn't work out in the end, but that is kind of the idea. Kev said Konate should have scored, so there you go. Kev's got something for us to pick him out.
He's been practicing headers with Virgil van Dijk all season apparently, because he was really free and open on that. And he should have buried it, but it will only do him the world of good as long as he can come through this tournament without re-aggravating his injury or picking up another injury. This is going to do him the world of good for us as Liverpool fans going forward.
Jonathan's mentioned apparently Harry Kane's got off for a scan on his ankle. Yeah, I mean, I saw the tackle and it did look like he rolled his ankle. The bit I find mad with England is he does that on the 55th minute. England are about 3-1 up, 4-1 up. Game's done. Take him off. No, play him for 75 minutes.
Go. He needs his go. That's his go.
I know. It's just take him off. Save him for another game. I mean, I think he'd be fine. Hopefully, for England, hopefully he's fine. But he does have a history of ankle issues. But it was a particularly late tackling. But it's one of them, isn't it? Jonathan, someone said Ibba was limping and nearly had a heart attack. Yeah, me and Kev were like that on the stream when someone said Ibba was limping. I think luckily it was just a kick, wasn't it, that he seemed to not like. So he pretty much sorted them out anyway.
It would be our fucking luck that we've got so few players at the World Cup, and it'll be one of the Liverpool players that ends up getting injured.
I know it would be, but look,
yeah,
it was quite enjoyable. So,
and nothing else happened in the world of football. In the background, absolutely no other news broke whatsoever.
Something happened in Manchester, didn't it? I think the player left, and I think. And they're selling the club now as well. So,
and they're selling the club. Yes. It's. I mean, again, Ronaldo obviously got exactly what he wanted.
Yeah. He wanted out of United. So
yeah,
basically, he wanted out. He's been wanted out of United since the summer.
Yeah.
And this whole, when you have to do a loving interview with Piers Morgan, which I refuse to watch because it's Piers bloody Morgan. Says it all. Pair of dopes together. So leave them to it. As for the United sale thing. I think people get some fans get really excited. But I think it's about the Liverpool thing. I don't think you'll see hide or hair of anything serious till the summer, maybe later. These processes take ages. Chelsea's in extreme because it had to be a quick sale because of the reasons off the pitch we know about. They're not in a rush till they get the money. So I think I wouldn't surprise me if the Glazers still there in 18 months' time.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere. But I mean, like I said immediately into the Telegram group when the news broke of like, if FSG and the Glazers are both looking to get out, obviously there's something, in a macroeconomic world that's happening that, we just doesn't even exist for us on a day-to-day basis as just regular football fans.
I think
something's up with the money.
Yeah, do you know what I think it is? I think if you're Liverpool, it's a big investment job now to build the next team. And they've probably we probably haven't quite got that level. So now also, they're probably thinking, whatever we sell the club for now, we're going to make 10 times what we bought it for. So quite frankly, we're set. And in terms of the United thing, I think it's a bigger job because they're probably now looking we probably need to invest still in the playing squad. There probably is infrastructure stuff behind the scenes in terms of how you both commercially and football wise what you sort out. They haven't invested any money in Carrington or the stadium. These are all biggie jobs. The one thing that makes Liverpool a little bit more attractive is training centres done, two of the 4 stands are done, and there is a proven infrastructure that's working in the back end. So most of it is now commercials. If you want, you can do more soon if you want to, but it's more like building the squad ready for the next level. So they're both probably in different modes of the next cycle, and perhaps both owners have gone, that's probably too rich for my blood.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
but we'll see. Jonathan,
it's really testing the depth of how many billionaires there are out there that are interested in owning sports teams.
Listen, there won't be that many because United will cost a lot more than what Liverpool will. That's just because I think Forbes has them about over 4 billion. So it's big money. That's just to get the club. That's before you even put money into update it. Jonathan, Don was under an injury class. Well, he couldn't make it up. Yeah, so apparently he left training early went for a quick scan, but then apparently he rejoined training. So I think it's just one of those niggles that players get. I think so. So I look forward
We
to
don't
it.
need don't I don't need that. I've been touting Uruguay as my sleeper pick to win the whole thing. So
I think I've been touting Darwin as the dark horse for the Golden Boot.
I
So
heard
let's talk.
66-1 he was going off at. So
Let's talk about your team. Got all Canada because you got an easy start to the World Cup. You've only got Belgium.
it's only Belgium. It's no
So,
big deal. It's not like they have the best midfielder in the world and world class keeper and.
But apart from that you'd be fine.
The rest are Jan Vertonghen and Toby Alderweireld are playing center half, so I'm hoping they get the start and that provides some opening for us because I mean those guys are ancient and like Canada's got some pace. It's one thing we got going for us is we got some pacey players. Like I don't expect Alphonso Davies to be playing left back like he does for Bayern because he's not the best player on Bayern, but he is very much so the best player on the Canadian national team. Kyle Larin up front, he scores goals. Tejan Buchanan, Jonathan David. Like, we've got some talented players, but there's a big step from CONCACAF qualifying to the World Cup.
Yeah, but we've seen that with, is it Alaba? He plays centre-back, left-back for Madrid, but when he plays for Austria, he's centre mid because get your best players there. Well, Jonathan David is going to be a good one for you. I'm intrigued to see how he does. Pace and power, which, against an old centre-back partnership, while, they've got the experience, pace will still always hurt teams. So it'd be interesting to see what.
Well, even like Meunier is not the fastest at right back. Not entirely sure who the left back is for Belgium's team. Should probably look into it a little bit, but we're all just excited to be here. That's the main thing. Is we're just here to have fun. Let's just score a goal. But after today's result, you look at it and you go, "Well, son of a bitch! If Saudi Arabia can beat Argentina, Canada could do something." Yeah, our Allison. If I knew how to kick people from the chat, I would. You can just get.
I know how to do it, and I'm protecting it because I like our Allison. He says Belgium are a lot more defensive, I think now though as well. So that'll be an interesting one because it's a bit different for them. Bonker saying, is Jeremy Doku playing? We were linked to him last year. It's a very good question.
Correct. I'm not sure who's going to get in. Like
Carrasco is the left back. He went to China at one point, didn't he? I remember when he came back. I think is he at Atleti now? I will Google Belgium's World Cup.
He was there, but I mean, okay. So if you're looking at the back line of Yannick Carrasco, Alderweireld, Jan Vertonghen, and Thomas Meunier, there's not a lot of pace there. So,
but you got it. But when you think they've got the likes of Kevin, you got the likes of Kevin De Bruyne playing centre mid. You got to get the ball off them first.
Yeah. I mean, we do have to get. That's going to be the tough part. But I mean, hopefully, the Canadian coaching team were doing a little bit of homework and watched, our game against Manchester City. Watched who beat them just before the
Egypt
season.
Egypt
who beat City in the Premier League the last weekend?
Oh, Brentford.
You just especially how we played against them, of just deny space and the ball to De Bruyne. If you got to leave somebody else a little bit more free, that's fine. Just don't let him do what he's going to do, and you've got a half decent chance of getting something out of the game.
Just let Bonkers know, Jeremy Doku is in the squad. I'm just having a look at who else. Trossard's made it from Brighton as well. Lukaku's in the squad. There. Yeah, I think Lukaku's in the squad, but I don't think he's going to play because I think he came with an injury. Who else is there? Batshuayi is still kicking around.
Oh, wow.
And then midfield wise, they've got KDB, Onana from Everton, who's had a good season for them. Tielemans, Axel Witsel, Torgan Hazard. So Castagna from Leicester and Meunier.
Oh, there's your left back.
Yeah, and Meunier from Dortmund as well, who could also play fullback as well. So
yeah.
So it's a few options there. So will be interesting. Obviously, big size on the bench as well. Mr. Mignolet, who's I
thought you were talking about Aiden Hazard, big size.
Big size, big wages. So I don't think he was great in the build-up to the World Cup either. So Are you looking forward to it?
No.
Are you genuinely looking forward to it? Or are you just like, oh Christ?
No, I am. I am looking forward to it. I mean, this is something that might not happen again in my lifetime because we're not a football playing nation. But I really do have big hopes that there's, they always talk about legacy from the tournaments and, from this tournament and then going into co-hosting the next one that, hopefully in 20 years we can at least be a serious contender for winning the Gold Cup, and stop losing to Panama and Costa Rica and stuff like that because we shouldn't. We're a good sporting nation. We produce good athletes. We should be able to put out a decent footballing side. So hopefully that's what I'm looking for.
It's kept us that you host next time, so technically, you will be qualified for the next World Cup anyway.
Exactly. So
that's back to back, and it's done wonders for your women's team because the women's Canadian team is really good.
Yeah, we're fantastic. I mean, we're up there, with the top 5-10 teams in the world. Winning Olympic gold medals and it's fantastic and it's extremely exciting and it creates a lot more passion around it and it's starting to help kill off that old-fashioned Canadian mentality of oh, soccer, who likes soccer? It's 0-0 and everybody just dives and it's the most boring sport in the entire world. It can be, but it can also be the most exciting thing.
It is, but that's why we love it,
Yeah. I mean, I can't remember what tournament it was that I think it was the Olympics that they played against the US and it was just it was some of the most exciting football you could ever watch and I can't imagine the impact that had on young girls that are sitting there watching these Canadian women going and winning major tournaments. It's a great thing for the country and you need it because the cost of playing hockey is ridiculous. So we need more kids playing footy.
I know, 'cause we've got a Canadian lady at Liverpool. I know she's currently recovering from neck surgery, but she's really good. I think she was on the cusp of getting into the Canadian squad as well, which was really unfortunate when she got that injury. So, look, that's the legacy you hope for, isn't that? In, like you said, 10, 20 years' time, it is, you're not seeing just the odd player like Davison Bayern or,
Junior Hoylett.
Yeah, you're not seeing the odd one. It becomes more of a thing now. You just have, a lot of Canadians playing in Europe, which is what America's doing now. Most of the American squad now play in Europe and playing, but they don't just play playing for lower leagues. They play for very good sides in Europe. That's kind of just a progression. But these things just take time.
Yeah, we'd be a generation, to put it in a rough term, behind the Americans in terms of the national men's team. Our women have caught up and we're kind of neck and neck with them, which is impressive because the amount of money in the collegiate system that comes out of the United States, their ability to produce, women footballers is almost unequaled in the entire world. So we need to catch up with our men's team and, hopefully, but hey, if Saudi Arabia can beat Argentina, we can beat Belgium. So, let's keep positive. Jonathan, population of Canada, I think it's about 38 million. So,
so you should have had a few decent footballs at 38 million, you would think.
Well, you'd think so, but the football playing season is about 6 months long. So,
you've always got an excuse, haven't you?
Yeah. I mean, look at how good our hockey team is.
I don't know. They're good.
Our hockey team. In other women's news, I did hear they interrupted during one of the games I was listening to that Beth Mead did her knee today.
So she's done her ACL. I was watching. I saw the highlights of the United game. It's quite innocuous, pushing her as well. So it's one of those ones where she got a bit of a nudge, but you can see when someone lands and the way they land, you're sort of going, that doesn't look. We've all seen enough. No one's a doctor, but we've all seen enough football when you know a way a player lands. You go, that just feels like that's a bad one, and you're all going, hopefully it's not the big one. And unfortunately, it is, and it is. It's actually more. Sadly, it's a more common injury in women's football than it is in men's football. I think there are reasons behind it, but horrible. So she's now in a pretty much a race for the World Cup now next year. So fingers crossed, because she's a very, very good player. I mean, she was top goal scorer at the Euros. So fingers crossed. But that's a big blow for Arsenal as well. Because they lost to United, so they're now behind Chelsea, but they've got a game in hand. But that was a big loss, and then losing the arguably one of their best players. It's a big loss for Arsenal. I mean, women wise, I think that our women drew 3-3. They play Thursday. I mean, Thursday's a big day actually. Looking ahead Thursday, I think, is possibly the day of the World Cup tournament, really, because it's Switzerland, Cameroon, Uruguay, Korea, Portugal, Ghana, and Brazil, Serbia. All of them feel like more exciting games, and there's something on them, and fairly evenly matched, or there's potential upset there. So, I'm actually looking forward to Thursday's games. I think Thursday's probably going to be one of the best games of the World Cup. Watch them all be fucking 0-0s now, and I'll be Saturday going, yeah, what a great day this was.
Yeah, sign yourself up for 4 watch-alongs and the post-after show, and talk about
where nothing happens. So, grandiosa. Cool. Right. Anything else you want to bring up before we go, Matt? Because we've done 45 minutes, and I think we've done well to get 45 minutes out of 2 0-0s and then
That's
2 exciting games.
This is true. Yeah, no, I think that's be tough to top today, I think, for upset of the tournament. I mean, if you're going to get a bigger upset than that, it's going to be an exciting tournament,
I think so.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I'll say is, on your way out, guys, hit the like button, subscribe. We're going to keep doing we're going to try and do as many of these watch-alongs as we can. Probably mainly the late game, because most of us have jobs, unfortunately, so we can't sit and just do all of them. And we will keep doing these like previews at post reactions at 10 o'clock, where we can just talk around the games, really have a bit of fun. And then the only other thing we can say is, we mentioned already, links in the description below for Lydia's charity. So I think we're over the 5K mark now. So this is to get a treatment for endometriosis, which, if you don't know what it is, have a Google about it. It's a horrible illness. It's a really horrible illness. And for her, it's a real challenge for her mental health, because she's that ill with it and in that much pain with it. She can't leave the house. So this is treatment that can hopefully, make life a bit easier for her. So look, we've done this before. Like we always say, just give what you can. Kev always says that the 5s and 10s will do it for us. If you can't donate, 'cause look, we know times are tough, then just keep sharing it, because look, it'll reach somebody who will be able to help. And look, we'll just keep doing our bit. Tom Bowles, pesky Solido. He's Canadian, isn't he?
He's on the quarter.
Oh, that was it. I was on that show. That was the best show I did with Gav, where Olivier said pesky Solido's down on the quarter, and Gav was so made up, and then a bit later he had to go, I'm only messing with it. It's not really. I've never seen.
I don't know how he'd ever thought that was a thing.
I've never seen Gav look so devastated in all his life. Like,
if he has any sort of passing resemblance to a profile of King Charles, he might end up on our quarter, because our new coins are going to have our new monarch on the back of them. So,
look at you. Oh, I love that delight as well. But listen, nice to do a show, Matt. We haven't done one for ages.
No problem. I liked all the Canadian love we got going on here in the chat, going through all the famous Canadians.
Yeah.
You guys know you're Canadians. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Just wait till tomorrow, because if you don't win, they'll rinse you tomorrow.
Oh no! But if I'm hoping to get home in time to watch the whole game from work. I mean, 2 p.m. kickoffs. I mean, it's just absolutely brutal over here. But if we manage to score a goal, I think I'm just gonna crash right on into the watch along and just do a couple minutes of straight yelling, and then jump back out again.
Listen, if they win that, we'll get you on a 10 o'clock show and just watch you scream and get really happy for a bit.
Never hear the end of it.
Cool. Right, mate. I'll let you send us home.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. That was today at the World Cup. #OneLove. I think that's what you're supposed to do. I'm not entirely sure.
I'm not down with the kids, mate. Don't be asking me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's too old for that sort of stuff. See you guys around. Enjoy the World Cup. See you tomorrow.
Oh, wrong button.
Oh, that all went gray and black.
My bad. We'll try again. That was smooth as anything, that.
Yeah, no.